Hey there, and why do I say fatigue and exhaustion is dangerous? Actually dangerous for you, not just uncomfortable and really annoying and hard to get through life. It's actually dangerous. Why is that? Because the lack of energy means something's wrong in your body. And when something's wrong, that means our immune system could have trouble, our cellular energy and how we communicate with the cells can have trouble, digestion. You could have major issues underneath the surface that you don't really have necessarily a diagnosis for that are really causing you to feel this lack of energy. So it's not just maybe you need more sleep. There could be a lot more going on there. Okay, so let's talk about it. Hello, my name is Dr. Jason McCammon. I'm a board certified licensed naturopathic doctor. Also, things I practice is functional medicine and clinical naturopathy. And I'm really known as a root cause triangulation specialist, meaning I can look at all the different factors of someone's health and figure out what's really happening, get to the root cause. So let's talk about it. What to look for, and these are things that should resonate with you if you have trouble with exhaustion and fatigue. Not rested upon waking up is a big one. Of course, that's huge. Relying on coffee and energy drinks to keep you going or get you up and then get you through the afternoon. If you have to rely on those, that's a sign of serious exhaustion. Crashing after you get home from work with no energy. Let's say you get home from working kind of a normal, 8 or 9 hour day, and almost the rest of the night you just can barely function. That's not normal. That's not good. That's definitely another sign of exhaustion, burnout, fatigue. And then we've got turning down events, especially things like with family, social events, things that are important to you. You're just like, I just not up to doing it. If you have to turn those down, that's a problem, right? And then we also have poor sleep. Now, a lot of folks think, well, I'm exhausted. I should be able to just conk out at the end of the day and get great sleep because I'm so tired. Actually, just the opposite sometimes happens. When you get such poor fatigue in the body or such lack of support, our systems, our biorhythm and things that help us sleep really well aren't working. So in fact, you may feel very sleepy, maybe middle of the day, after work and even evening, but then when it comes to actually getting good sleep at night, you just lay there restless, can't even get to sleep, or you might wake up middle of the night, a lot on your mind, and just have very poor sleep, maybe tossing and turning, maybe some pain or aches and pains throughout the body. So poor sleep is actually another sign of exhaustion, fatigue there, besides actually having exhaustion and fatigue. What are some of the causes? Now, there's so many causes. I work through clients' cases and really help them understand what's going on for them. But this is a lot what I see in my clinical practice is low oxygen levels. So it may seem weird if you don't have a breathing restriction or a major issue with breathing, we still have low oxygen levels. Why is that? Because most of us breathe with our neck. Most of us take a deep breath. Just watch yourself. You take a deep breath and your shoulders rise up to your ears. That's neck breathing. That's a very shallow breath, by the way. And even when we focus on deep breathing, we're often doing it wrong. So a lot of times stress being piled onto our plate will end up in this sympathetic dominance, it's called, and we're just breathing with this short, shallow little neck thing. We're not getting good oxygen levels into the body, and low oxygen means low energy. Simple as that. You need oxygen to make energy in the cell. Lacking minerals is huge, and I would just make sure we understand you can't just take a gobs of minerals and expect them all to find the cell. That's a whole nother video. But basically, where our food is being grown nowadays, even organic soils are very depleted in not just trace minerals, which we need over 70 of them, but major minerals, calcium, magnesium, etc. Very depleted. And to make matters worse, often our cellular pH is acidic. And again, another video on that another time, but an acidic cellular pH means you cannot absorb minerals. They just go right out the body unabsorbed. So lacking minerals is really big. Lacking mitochondrial support, fancy term, mitochondria. That's the powerhouse of the cell you might have heard of. That's actually where our body takes all the fuel we give it, communicates with other signals, and actually makes ATP. And that's what actually fuels like energy in the human body is mitochondrial support. And there's a lot that goes into that. Toxic and overworked liver is another big one. Our liver is grand central station for your body. Everything goes through the liver, whether it be your food, your blood volume for filtering, hormones are recycled there, emotions are often caught there and kind of can't get released from there. It is the anger, resentment liver, or organ rather, in the Chinese medicine. But an overworked liver is huge, and if it can't detox, think about it. Think about your circle of blood going through your body. It goes through your liver about 3 to 5 times. Your entire volume of blood goes through your liver, and as it goes through there, it's supposed to be taking out toxins and helping it purify. And if it's already filled with toxins and it can't conjugate or methylate these toxins out of your blood, they're going to stay in there, and they're going to really just have this kind of burden effect of your body and your brain, and you just always feel like there's a weight on your shoulders. That's a lot of times that's your liver that needs a lot of support there. Medications, there's so many that cause issues, and I'm totally not against medications when they're prescribed correctly and really the last resort for a health condition. However, so many out there are taken are just prescribed just because physicians are guessing sometimes. But I can talk about one class called the statin class, like Lipitor, those types of medications. They purposely go after and downregulate coenzyme Q10, which, guess what? That's the enzyme, the rate-limiting enzyme in making ATP, which I talked about earlier. And you've got to have ATP to have energy. To have ATP, you got to have coenzyme Q10. And to have that, we have to be careful about being on statin. I'm not saying not to take it, okay? Again, another discussion, another day. But however, those are draining you, okay? So there's things you can do about that to help that improve a lot. Poor gut health is a big one. Stress directly impacts gut health. Psychological stress, stress load directly affects the gut. Obviously, food allergies, food sensitivities, food intolerances affect the gut, and just being able to have good motility, get things in, get things out, get things moving through there. A really poor gut environment is going to just drag you down because you're not absorbing energy from your food, and also those the microflora down there, okay, they actually make something that's really neat. We'll talk about this in another video, but it's called postbiotics. It's a really neat, obviously our body's been doing this forever, but science is just catching up to it. You have prebiotics, which are like food for the little microbes. Of course, probiotics, which are microbes themselves, and then postbiotics are these microbes that make and manufacture things from our food, okay, and then they enter our body. So believe it or not, and I know it seems crazy, what you eat is not necessarily what you get in your bloodstream. It's a product of these mitochondrial metabolism, basically. They manufacture other substances and chemicals into our body. So crazy as it sounds, your meals are transformed by these microbes. They can be obviously transformed into toxic, or they could be homeostatic and really healthy. It all depends on your microbiota. So if those are healthy, you'll probably have more energy. If they're not, that's another sign of fatigue and exhaustion from as far as the source goes, okay? And then let's talk a little bit about energy drinks and stimulants as being causes. And I do mean a cause of exhaustion. So they are so common now to you don't feel like you have a lot of energy. Let me grab something. Do you really know what that's doing? That's actually artificially stimulating your body, the beta receptors around your adrenal cortex on your kidney, and that's going to try to manufacture stress hormones, which then trigger some glucose in your blood. So you artificially feel more energy, but has a net reduced energy levels later on. It actually has a net loss of energy, and you keep doing this to your body year after year, you'll get lower and lower levels of energy, even though your caffeine and stimulant usage is going up. It's actually making it worse. Yes, I know you feel better temporarily. I know you have to get through the day and have to work and got the kids and all that, but it is making it worse, okay? It also blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, which helps you, again, delay fatigue. The problem is, for example, coffee, the caffeine in coffee has about a 12-hour half-life, okay? That means a cup at 8 a.m. is still active in the blood at 8 p.m. And a lot of people drink coffee all day, and especially afternoon as a pick-me-up. That means you have circulating caffeine in your blood almost all day, 24 hours a day. So those adenosine receptors can never really bind and calm the brain down and get some good sleep. So be careful with the energy drinks and caffeine, etc. That can really make it worse. So let's talk about some unfortunate facts out there about this condition. And really, let's call it adrenal fatigue is really at the heart of it, even though there's many other factors besides just your adrenal glands. But it is a really huge epidemic. I mean, just massive epidemic once you start researching. It's just everywhere, especially with the, let's call it post-COVID modern world with all the things that has changed with stress and health and everything. So this adrenal fatigue is not even a medical condition that's recognized by conventional medicine, okay? It is a true syndrome, not even recognized. There's not even a set of blood markers that says, hey, this is what we're looking for in this patient, this person. Let's look for these things and then see what we can do about it when they are dragging in here, barely able to, get out of bed in the morning. Your family doctor or your conventional doctors doesn't even have any sort of training to even look for this. So when you keep going these office visits and, doc, I just don't feel right. I'm tired all the time. I don't feel good. And, again, the brain fog, I'm relying on coffee to get me up during the day. They're really not going to have a lot of answers, to be honest with you, because their training tells them Well, if it's not in the blood, then you're good, right? You should be fine. I don't know what your problem is. So you get a lot of that from a lot of docs. They mean well, they just don't have the training to really deal with this. So it's very, very underdiagnosed as far as this condition goes, okay? There's a few things I want to look for, some of the background on having exhaustion and a lot of fatigue there. Let's talk about supporting the body to try and reverse this. Now, first of all, patience, patience, patience. It takes time. You have to be patient with your body. The longer you've been exhausted and fatigued, the longer it probably takes to repair it. It can be repaired quicker than you think if you do the right things, but we've got to be patient with ourselves. So let's talk about some of the highlights here. We can, of course, delve deeper in future videos on this. One of my favorite things with eating is to keep it simple and it's called jerfing, okay? J-E-R-F, just jerf. What does that mean? Just eat real food. It's an acronym, okay? Yes, there's lots of different protocols I put my clients on to help heal. Some of them are super effective and they can heal really quickly. But if we're just getting started at the basics, let's just try to eat real food. Eat something that maybe 100 years ago, your great grandmother, your grandfolks would probably recognize as real food. Let's get away from all the chemicals and stuff, okay? Hydration is really big. Distilled water. You hear me talk about this a lot in a lot of the videos I do. And distilled water is called hungry water. If this is a molecule of distilled water, it has a lot of area, surface area to bind toxins, okay? So as it enters our body, it grabs minerals and takes it to the cell. And on the way out, it grabs toxins and takes them out, okay? Tap water, even if it's filtered, already has hard minerals bound to it, okay, around the molecule. And so these minerals are not absorbed by our body, believe it or not. I know people will tell you that minerals, oh yeah, you get them from my water. No, you don't. Those are hard minerals. They're inorganic. We can't absorb them. Anyway, the surface area is diminished that it can bind good minerals to and toxins. So even though you may be drinking lots of water and feel like you're hydrated, it may not be the right kind of water to really get you feeling better. So work on distilled water, about half your body weight in ounces per day. And with movement, a lot of folks, man, so common out there that come to see me and say, man, I would love to work out. I'd love to train. I'd love to at least go for, a couple mile jog or a 5K, but I just have no energy to even do that. It's a paradox. I know it's crazy, but you have to move and make energy or expend energy to make energy, okay? You got to start somewhere. So start with some short little walks that you can accomplish on your own without a lot of strenuous movement. Just start even 5-minute walks. Just start somewhere and you can always increase it as you go. Let's talk about breathing. Again, I alluded earlier, we're stuck in the sympathetic dominance type mode. That means we're fight or flight all the time, go, 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 always solving problems, always put out fires. Breathing, okay, watch this, 4 seconds in and then 8 seconds out. I really wanted to show you how long a really good breath is. 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out is a great place to start. That ramps down our sympathetic system and shifts our body into parasympathetic, which is more calming. So work on 4 seconds in through the nose, keeping your shoulders down, and 8 seconds out through the mouth, okay? Work on those breaths. Now, can you maintain that all day? Something to work toward, but if not, that's okay. Just work on it when you can. I suggest early, like maybe upon waking, after lunch and before bed, just work on maybe 8 to 10 reps of that and work on that breathing. And it's not only calming, but it's detoxing as well. Your sleep routine, I can't stress this enough. This is an absolute non-negotiable when I work with clients. You gotta get good sleep, at least create a routine to get eventually good sleep. It won't happen night one, but you've got to work on it. And that means the non-negotiable means no screen time. I'm telling you, you gotta put the screens down, the TV, that's gotta be shut off at least minimum half an hour before you want to be asleep. So if it's 11 o'clock, 10:30, but ideally an hour. I know that's like crazy, right? In today's world, with your streaming shows after work, hanging out with the spouse, whatever. But we've got to put the screens down, guys. Anyway, routine is so important for sleep. Our body thrives with routine. I know it seems boring, but going to bed exactly 10:30 every night, having that routine tells our biorhythm, oh, I need to be sleeping right now. Okay, if your bedtime varies from 9:30 because you're just worn out one day till like 2 o'clock in the morning the next night, your biorhythm's all over the place. There's no idea what to expect, and so it can't secrete hormones and get you on a schedule. So we've got to work on routine, okay? And even if it doesn't work at first, you got to stick with it. Again, this could take some time. Stress response is super important. I want you to really think of the concept of responding to stress with calm and some thoughtfulness, then react, right? Don't react. Somebody says something to you, boss says something, the kid says something, okay. Unless it's a medical emergency, you don't need to react to that as if it's life or death, right? Unless it truly is, take a second, process that, breathe, right? And then respond versus react. That's really big. Breath work and mindfulness. Okay, mindfulness, so many things you could do out there. I would suggest you look that up. Another really big one, because a lot of us have this internal dialogue that's negative and toxic and cancerous, and we get to accumulate this crap throughout our life. It just happens, all of us. You're human. I've had the same thing happen to me. I really want you to consider the book, The 4 Agreements. It is unbelievable, unreal, okay, how it can change your life. I did this for over 2 years. I recited myself to myself personally the 4 agreements that the author goes through. Incredible. It's outstanding. So I want you to really work on those the 4 agreements, to look up that book and consider what he's saying in this book. It's really an easy read, and it can be profound if you really practice them. Self-care is big, especially for you women out there that are, the caregivers, the wife, with the spouse or the partner, and then you've got, you're dependent on it at work and all the deadlines and everything. Everybody's depending on you. Okay, so you've got to take some time and schedule yourself for self-care. You've got to do that, right? You wouldn't have your kid miss an event, right? You make sure they get there. You wouldn't miss work. You would make sure your spouse or husband gets to what they need. So make sure you get scheduled. You've got to schedule yourself. And what does that mean? If there's no hours left in the day for you, then something has to give. I'm sorry, but something has to give. You have to put yourself first, even if it's once a week for 15 minutes. Start somewhere. Schedule yourself. Schedule some self-care time, and if something else has to go to make room for that, so be it. Let it go, okay? Doing a little less is better. You've got to do a little less, because again, you're exhausted. You can't take on any more. We actually have to unload our system, right? There's a really incredible story of a client. We'll just call Jay, to protect her privacy there. But she could barely function. She could barely open her eyes. Again, all the things we talked about. Barely could get out of bed in the morning, barely could get going at all. And one reason is she had a chronic cough. Again, we'll talk about this in another video, but I helped put that chronic cough to bed. I don't think she coughs at all anymore after some time. But the key is we had to address the underlying factors to why she was coughing so much, and because she couldn't get much oxygen, right? Because she coughed literally, every sentence she spoke, several times a minute, coughing. And this went on for years, I kid you not, okay? So her body was so low in oxygen, her brain couldn't function. She couldn't have an immune system. She would get sick all the time. She had tremendous brain fog, and she was dealing with a brain injury as well. Imagine that, and concussion syndrome, and was also had low oxygen to the brain. Brain was really struggling. Once we helped her, her body, again, obviously gut health, diet, things like that. Not diet as in have to do a diet, but eating cleaner. And once we figured out and dialed in these things in her body that we knew were an issue, it was unbelievable. She's like a different person. I mean, it's just incredible. I wish I could show you, but I can't because of course, privacy and trying to keep her safe. But it's like it's a different person. Talking to her on the phone or in person at appointments, I had to keep telling her that, like, wow, Jay, you're just like a completely different person. I'm so proud of you. And she was just like, wow, I didn't realize all these things were going on. So it can make a huge difference. It's such a big breakthrough once we solve these underlying issues with fatigue and get you healthy from the inside out, which is how it has to work. Okay. So hopefully this was helpful to you. I did write a book called an ebook called Vibrant Health Breakthrough. You can find that on my website, drjasonnd.com. So drjasonnd as a naturopathic-doctor.com. Check that out. It's completely free, and I think it's 13 pages of just pure content. I just want you to get healthier. I want you to be well. I want you to be your best. I want you to go check that out and tell me what you think about it. And you'll also be signed up for weekly updates on other really cool health topics here. I'm just here to serve you, to help you get well. That's my whole job right now, okay? So until next time, you be well, take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.